boys and girls, today we are talking about prepositional phrases and prepositions. And this is something that we touched on a little bit at the beginning of the year or earlier in the year. So if you're panicking, thinking I don't know anything about it or I don't remember, good for you. I have a video for you. So again, we're going to talk about the prepositions and where you can find them and what they are, and then the prepositional phrases and how you find them. So your worksheet after this will be a part 1 and part 2. Part 1, you're going to just identify the preposition. Part 2, you're going to identify the preposition and the prepositional phrase. And it's super simple, so don't panic. Okay, let's get started. The first slide on the screen you see is prepositions. We're figuring out what is the function and what is the purpose of a preposition. And we have that a preposition is a part of speech that shows the relationship between two things. That means how the two relate, how they go together. So looking at this next slide, we have the caterpillar is on the apple. And you see here, this little caterpillar friend is on the apple. So the two items that we're talking about here, we're talking about the caterpillar, we're talking about the apple. And that preposition shows how do they relate? Well, the caterpillar is on the apple. So your preposition is the word on. Let's look at the next one. This one, from reading a sentence, it says the caterpillar is beside the apple. We have the caterpillar again. We have the apple again. Well, what's the relationship between the two? Where are they? Well, the caterpillar is beside. So beside is then your preposition. The caterpillar crawled through the apple. Okay? Again, we have a caterpillar. We have an apple. How are they related? Well, we know the caterpillar crawled through it. Well, we can't use the word crawled because that's a verb. So what's your relationship between with the caterpillar and the apple? He's going through the apple. So through is your preposition in this sentence. So if you're following the pattern here, you know that a lot of our prepositions are kind of where something is located. So we have other prepositions here, and I have a whole list for you. You have aboard, about, above, near, across, after, underneath, against, along, among, around, behind, below, beneath, to, beside, besides, under, between, beyond, at, by, during, except, for, through. Tons of them. On, upon. There's just tons. Like, where is where you have two objects in a sentence? Where are they? Where are they within your sentence? So how are they relating? So let's just look at some examples. We have the first one. The pie in the oven is my brother's. So what's the preposition? Well, what are we talking about? We're talking about the pie and we're talking about the oven. How do they relate? Well, they relate with the word in. So in is your preposition because the pie is in the oven. The next one we have, the guitar was lying against the dresser drawers. We have our two objects. We have guitar and dresser drawers. How is the guitar, where is the guitar in relation to the dresser drawers? Well, it's lying against. Well, lying or like laying is my verb, so I can't use that one. So your preposition is going to be against. Let's look at this next one. You look at this one. The boys chased each other around the house. Think about it. What two things are we talking about? How do they relate? You have boys and you have house, right? They're chasing each other around the house. Well, you can't use chase, right? Because that's their verb. So what are they in relation to the house? What are the boys doing in relation to the house? Around. Your preposition should be around. If you pick that one, good job. So now that we know how to pick our prepositions, now we've got to look at the prepositional phrase. And your prepositional phrase is a phrase that begins with a preposition and adds nouns or modifiers after it. So for example, I left my coat at home. Your coat, and home are your two things. At is your preposition. At home is a prepositional phrase. My cat snuggled under the warm blanket. So we're talking about cat and blanket. Well, what's the relation? The cat is under the blanket. So under is your preposition. Under the warm blanket is your prepositional phrase. The next one, I grow flowers in my garden. What's the relationships between the flowers and the garden? Well, the flowers are in the garden. In is your preposition, or in my garden, I'm sorry. In is a preposition, and in my garden is what follows. Now, we'll find an example later on, but sometimes you can have more than one preposition and more than one prepositional phrase within a sentence, and it'll make sense once we get to it. So let's practice this a little bit. I sat my drink on the table. So the first thing you're going to think about is, where is the preposition? I sat my drink on the table. You're talking about the drink and the table. What's the relationship? Where's the drink in relation to the table? Well, the drink is on the table. So your preposition is going to be the word on. What's my entire prepositional phrase? What comes after it? On the table. Okay? Next one. Please sit beside your partner. So, we are talking about sitting and your partner. Where are you in relationship to your partner? You are beside them. So your preposition is beside. The prepositional phrase is the word beside plus everything after. So beside your partner is your prepositional phrase. Now here's the other one that I was talking about before. You need to stand next to your sister and lean against the wall. So it says down here, sometimes there can be more than one preposition and prepositional phrase in a sentence. So let's look. The first preposition, let's see. You're talking about you and your sister, right? So where are you? You're doing what? You're standing next to your sister. So your preposition is going to be next. Stand can't be your preposition because it's a verb. It's what you're doing. So we have next. Your prepositional phrase is everything what comes after it. It's not going to be next to your sister and lean against the wall. It's just going to be next to your sister. Now, what else are you doing? What about the wall? You and the wall. What are you doing with the wall? Leaning. You're leaning, correct? But that's your verb. That's what you're doing. So you and the wall, you are against the wall. So against is your preposition. Against the wall is your prepositional phrase. So now it's time for you to practice. There will be a little bit of a little video within the assignment that goes over the first couple questions on the worksheet. So make sure that you watch that as well to help you start your worksheet.